Welcome to the Balls in Our Court podcast. My name is Cortez Paul, alongside with Kevin Carter. Kevin, what's going on, my friend?
Nothing much, just chilling at the house. It's a little cold outside here in Florida, so I'm staying inside today.
What? You said cold?
Yeah, it's cold. It's like 40-something, so that's cold to us.
Oh, no. I didn't know Florida and cold associated with one another. But...
Oh, shut up. You lived here before, too, and you used to say the same shit. Get over it.
All right. Hey, man. Well, I can relate to the Florida cold weather, so I do understand on that. So my apologies. You stay warm, all right? I'm trying to warm up here. But, hey, we're going to hop into this, and we're going to talk about LeBron's record night.
This dude, what a night.
I'm telling you, man, I know from a Heat fan, you particularly enjoyed this. This dude went off for 61 points on 22 of 33 shooting, 8 of 10 from the three-point line, 9 of 12 from the free throw line. Talk to me about this. This is your team.
It's one of those things I look at people and I go, LeBron could do this anytime he wanted to. He could go for 60 anytime he wants to. But the thing is, he's not that type of player. People are like, oh, well, Kobe went for 81. It's because Kobe's a ball hawk. This dude personifies what a team player is. Like he said it felt like he was holding a golf ball when he was throwing it into the ocean when he was shooting and everything. Players have those nights where you feel it and you just go with whatever you feel. Shane Battier, I don't know if you've seen the tweet. Shane Battier said, "I'm glad anytime me and LeBron can score 64 points together, it's going to be a good night." But it's one of those things where he can do this whenever he wants to. He just doesn't choose to do it all the time because he doesn't have to. Guys look at all these scores and everything like that, and it's like LeBron's showing everybody, look, you want to talk about Durant having all these huge games. You want to talk about giving him the MVP and everything. Well, this is what I can do. This one of those things where ever since he broke his nose and he heard about the Durant winning the MVP, it's like he's been pissed. And it's like he's been wanting to show everybody, well, this is what I can do. I can go off for 61 a night. I can go and get triple doubles. I can go and do this. I can go and do that. And it's one of those things that if I'm the rest of the league, I'm in oh shit mode because LeBron is playing insane right about now.
I'm sitting there and seeing this, and with the guy who had the broken nose and come back from that with the mask, and this guy, you're right, he does seem like he's a little irritated with all the Durant talk. This guy was efficient on 33 attempts. That was lastly done by Kobe and Jordan since 1985, whoever went on this high-scoring rampage here. 8 consecutive three-pointers made. Mm-hmm. Wow, 8 consecutive three-pointers made. And this Charlotte defense, even though they're fighting for the playoffs, they're a pretty good defense. As far as I checked, they were the 5th most efficient defense in the league, even though they have 2. I mean, Carmelo dropped 6 on them earlier, but it's just amazing how this guy, you think that he's done with showing you what he can do, but he just opened another page to the script and he just let you in. It's like, hey, I'm not done yet. And
it's like it's one of them statement things where he's saying, oh, okay, you want to crown. That's why we don't crown people MVPs in February. That's why we go to that halfway mark and we got, oh, well, this guy looked good the first half of the season, but now you're starting to see the King get into it's almost like they're trying to get into playoff mode in Miami. And you know what happens when Miami gets in the playoff mode? They start running off 21 in a row, and they start running games off night after night after night after night, and they start playing ball. And mind you, they did that last night without Dwayne Wade. Imagine if Dwayne Wade was there to add 20 to LeBron's 60. It would have been a 40-put ass whooping that they put on Charlotte. But it's one of those things to where he's getting in that mode now. He's getting into that playoff mode. They're trying to set up everything. But it was like one of them statement things where he was like, y'all don't forget about me. I'm still here. I'm still the best. And you've seen Twitter explode. LeBron scored 61. LeBron did it. But the thing that got me was he only missed 11 shots. And he did it on 33 shots. Durant scoring 60-something points, and he's taking 97 shots. Same thing with Carmelo. He's flinging up 57 shots, but he's getting his points. But, well, you shot 57 shots to get there. And it's just one of those things to where we're watching one of the best to ever play the game, and we should be grateful that this generation should be grateful that we're getting to actually watch LeBron James play basketball. It's a good time to be an NBA fan.
I'm watching this. I pull up his shot chart, and I'm looking at all the green everywhere. Yep. On the left side, he's 6 for 7 on the 3-point line over here. 1 for 2 on the other side. Is this notion where LeBron wasn't a deep shooter? Is it now changing because he's put on the clinic here? This is ridiculous. Like it's 8 for 10.
It's not changing because you don't consider. It's like when Mike went off in the playoffs with all these threes. You didn't ever view Mike as the 3-point shooter and everything like that. But it's one of those things that you get it put in the back of your head that, oh shit, he can shoot. What are we going to do now? How are you going to guard him when he's knocking down these 3-pointers? And it's those things that it's giving them people that it puts it in the back of your mind that, okay, now we got to guard him here, and then he blows by you. And then do you give him that little space and let him shoot the three? So it's adding that dimension of, can he really shoot? Has he been consistent from the 3-point line? He's been getting better and better and better, especially since being in Miami. He's been getting in better and better and better at the 3-point line. So it's one of those things where he's getting in people's head that, look, I can do this too, so you got to look out for that as well.
And see, that's the thing that worried me about LeBron is that this guy, when he makes shots like that, he's practically unguardable. Mm-hmm. I mean, how do you defend this guy? You have this. If you send a double team, you got enough shooters on Miami that can make you pay for it. He can pass the ball well for his size. Now he can add a 3-point shot. He gets to the rim better than anybody has seen. You're right. I was the one who really didn't appreciate greatness when you don't see it. I'm truly seeing greatness from this kid right now. He's about my age, so I can call him a little kid. So
I'm older than both of you.
Yeah, but I'm just amazed at what he is doing, how he is improving, and he didn't let this broken nose set him down for too long, and he came back. And I mean, like, okay, Kobe did this against Toronto, who was probably one of the worst defense in the league at the time. And so you want to compare the two. LeBron is definitely more impressive just because he was more efficient and he did against a good defense. I mean, yes, it's the Charlotte Bobcats, but the Charlotte Bobcats were better than the Toronto Raptors at that point in time. I don't want to hear that argument. And so it is impressive. Now, he did pass Glenn Rice, who did it twice against my Orlando Magic.
Yep.
His last time that he led the Heat in the franchise scoring a game was 56 points back in April 15, 1995. That was
20 years ago.
20 years ago before this record was even touched. Heat fan, tell me about this because I know you got to be like amazed about, Glenn Rice is a heck of a player. So
I love Glenn Rice, and that and most of Glenn's come off of 3-point shooting and all that stuff. So that was one of those ones where he was feeling it that night, and he just kept shooting and kept shooting and kept shooting and kept shooting and kept shooting, and he kept missing, or he kept making it. So it was one of those. But it's 20 years ago. We were talking about it at work. I'm going to be graduating school in 20 years. It's been since I've been in high school. And I was like, good Lord, I'm getting old. But now you had to remind me about it again, so thank you. I appreciate it. I always like getting told I'm old. But, it was one of those things. And like I said, we just need to appreciate what we're seeing from LeBron. People go out there and people bash and everything on LeBron. Just be lucky you're getting to watch it right now, because it's one of those things to where we don't see these kind of players come around. We don't see the kind of players like Durant, LeBron, Dwayne Wade to a certain extent. We don't see these guys come along that often. So when you get to see them and when you get to see them all together, you need to appreciate it.
All right. Now, I pulled this up here. The last career high was 56 in a loss to the Toronto Raptors in a Cavs uniform.
Yep.
Before that, he was one shot of Carmelo, 62, who did against the Bobcats. This guy has 10 50-point games, and so it just makes you think, man, the future is bright for this cat, man, depending on what y'all do in the offseason. But I know y'all looking to right now and try to be a three-peat champion. But in comparison to Kevin Durant last 3 games, Kevin Durant had 28 points. He was inefficient, 8 for 24, and no
Jesus
three-pointers. The Grizzlies, he dropped 37. He was better here. He was 12 for 24 and 3 for 8 from three-point land. And then he played the Cavaliers, and he was 28 points, 10 for 16, and 4 for 9 from three-point range. Now, this sparks up the debate here. How close is this MVP race between Kevin Durant and LeBron James?
It's closed. The gap is closed big time as I can see it right now, especially with the way taking nights off and everything like that. Remember, I said last time that the MVP race is, to me, it's if you take that guy off that team, will that team hurt? Will it hurt more with him gone than it will, say, with the other guy gone? And right now, if you take LeBron off of the Heat, they're going to be hurting more than if you took Kevin Durant off of the Thunder, especially with Westbrook back chunking up all his shots that he's going to chunk up. It's one of those things to where I think even the game when OKC took on the Heat is when LeBron was like, okay, we want to hear all this talk and everything. Let me go out there. Let me put the team on my back. Let me get Dwayne Wade involved. Let me get everybody going. And they end up beating the Thunder pretty convincingly. And now ever since that talk, it's been LeBron's like, okay, it's time for clutch time to come in. It's time for the end of the season, time for us to catch that number one seed of the Pacers, and it's time for me to step up my game a little bit. And his game has completely stepped up right now, and it's a total flip-flop from what we've seen before the All-Star break, where Durant was going nuts and insane and was doing all things and had the team on his back.
I'm telling you, I'm looking at this MVP race, and I want to say it's a margin for like a hair size. That's how close this MVP race is. Just seeing what LeBron has done, he's put the team on his back, of course. Durant, he carried his team when Westbrook was down. It's really preference, and this is probably one of the closest MVP races I have seen in years. It's really going to come down to the last few games, which one who's going to be more spectacular than the other. They both are really spectacular players, so it's really hard to say which one is going to be more spectacular than the other because they all have their moments. I'm telling you, man, I'm edging because if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I said, yeah, it's going to be Kevin Durant. He's up edge right now. LeBron is catching this guy fast, and it's scary how fast it is. I still have Durant by an edge, but by goodness, I think by a month we will be having a different conversation.
It's like when we watch both of them that we take it for granted because LeBron's already won these MVPs and where everything, and everybody's like, well, give it to Durant just so we give it to somebody new, and it's like we're taking what LeBron has done and we're taking it for granted, and we're taking it for granted what he's doing this year. But it's a real close race, and give everything to Durant. He's been explosive this year. He done exactly what the Thunder needed him to do with Westbrook out. I actually like the Thunder better without Westbrook in that lineup than I do with him there. It seemed like the chemistry was better with him out of the lineup and everything. I know it's going to take him some time to get his groove back, but I really liked them playing without him than I liked it playing with him. The ball was spaced out more. Other people were getting involved besides usually just Durant and Westbrook when it's both of them in the game. So it's one of those things to where it's half dozen in one, 6 in the other on who you're going to give it to. Right now I give the slight edge just over the last few games to LeBron, but that's actually caught him right back up to where we were a few weeks ago after the All-Star break. So right now it's Durant ahead by a hair, just like you said. But LeBron, he's closing quick, and he's back to showing, hey, I'm the best player in the game right now. I'm still here. Don't give my trophy away yet.
But do you feel like Kevin Durant is, because all this time you feel like he's second fiddle, and that's pretty much what motivated him this season. He, like you said, you gotta respect what he has done. I mean, but LeBron, in the retrospect, is saying, hey, you know what? I respect you, Kevin Durant, but it's still my show. And it's definitely a debate there going on. And it just, what do you think about the second fiddle there? Because I know you heard that was a big story at the beginning of the season. Kevin Durant, he's sick and tired of being second fiddle. He's got a little more of a mean streak. He's not Mr. Nice Guy anymore. and he's just sick and tired of hearing LeBron, 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 LeBron. But flip side, now LeBron had heard Durant. So it's gonna keep going back and forth. Answer that question about them playing second fiddle. Kevin Durant.
Them playing Durant playing second fiddle. Well, here you go, Kevin. You know what you got to do to stop playing second fiddle? You got to win the NBA championship. Go out, win the NBA championship. Don't disappear when Russell Westbrook comes back. Don't place. You play second fiddle to Russell Westbrook most of the time on that team, especially I remember the playoff years and a bunch of games I've watched. You disappear. You completely leave the game. In the finals that year, LeBron got in your head. LeBron got directly in your head and got you completely out of your game, and they took you out. If you want to stop playing second fiddle, you need to go out. You need to win that NBA championship. You need to play the way you were playing the first half of this year throughout the year. Don't care if Westbrook's there. Don't care who is playing with you. You need to do what you did that first half of the year to be considered that the fiddle and not the second fiddle. You have to go and do that. And until he goes and does that and develops that, you have to have ice water running through your veins. You have to not care that people are calling you second fiddle. Don't care about it. Leave it all out of your head. Go out and play your game. And that is when you become on that same level with LeBron. LeBron has took it to another level now because LeBron took it to another level when he got that first championship off his back. Once that got off his back, you've seen him improve. And that's what's scary, that he has improved since that first championship. He got that monkey off of his back, and that's what Durant is going to have to do. Durant's going to have to get that first monkey off his back, and then he's going to go up from there. You can't go nowhere but up once you get that first championship. You can only get your game better, and you can only make those around you better. But he has to learn to don't play second fiddle on his own team before he can say that he's the big fiddle in the league.
And that's why I agree with you too. He's got to show up in bigger games. He's got to take over. He's got the tools to take over, but he needs to go ahead and show the league that LeBron is basically on his rear end with this MVP race. And the last few games that I read here, he's got to step it up. Now I was going to ask you before we move on to something else. Now there's a saying the clock strikes twice. Okay, the Jordan era. We can name so many players that has not won a ring because of Michael Jordan. Is this deja vu with LeBron James? Could we witness another era where there's one player that just simply takes over and they will not get a ring because of this one player?
It all depends on what happens this offseason. If LeBron stays in Miami, even if Dwayne retires, if Bosh stays, LeBron stays, and they bring in somebody else to play with them, we could be looking at a lot of these guys that we were going, man, they were great players, but they couldn't get by LeBron to get that ring. And we could be looking at that based on what happens in the offseason and based on where we see LeBron go and we see what he does. Because it's one of those things to where LeBron is great, but we already found out that he needs that core group of guys around him in order to win that championship. And if LeBron can go, if he goes somewhere else, it's curious to see if they put that core group of guys around him. But then we could be looking at it like, man, Kevin Durant was great, but he can never get that ring because of LeBron. We could be looking at it as all these great players, but they just couldn't get past LeBron.
And see, this is what worries me because I think you can beat LeBron if you have a big man that can stop from getting into the paint. I really think if you have someone that can stop, control the paint, that's the way to beat them. But I just don't see a team. The team that I think can come close to beating Miami is the Indiana Pacers, but we'll see how those moves help out. We'll wait till the NBA Finals to discuss that. But I just feel like, man, we're in the midst of a deja vu era again because with this guy. But you're right. It's with Jordan. He did it against big men. Mm-hmm. He beat the big man of the NBA. Now, digress. There wasn't no strong guard play back then, but it took him years to get by Detroit. Though it took him years to get by Detroit, and they were brutalizing, big, mean, physical. And it took him years to get by. And the same things were talked about Indiana last year. They're big, they're physical. But LeBron got
Miami by him.
Yes.
Mind you, it was because of he has help, but he got him by him. But Mike had Scotty and Mike had Horace Grant. But that Pistons team was still that one thing that you knew Mike had to get over. Luckily, they got older, and Mike got better, and Mike was able to get them by there. But the thing is, LeBron's still in his prime, which is scary.
Right.
And these guys, all these guys that are coming up, they're coming up, and they're going to be hitting their primes pretty soon. And then everything's going to be, but you're still going to look at it and go, these guys lost because they had to play against LeBron. And it's one of those things to where I know people aren't huge fans of LeBron. There's some people that can't stand him because of everything. And then you got guys that love Durant and everything, the video game mindset people of points matter, points matter, points matter. But LeBron, hands down, has to be one of the greatest players of this generation. And I know I'm sounding biased. I want him to stay in Miami just so they can build that dynasty. And I want to have people going, well, Kevin Durant was great, but he can never get past LeBron. But that's just coming from me being a fan. And people are like, well, what if LeBron leaves? And I always get that question a lot. What if LeBron leaves the Heat? Will you be pissed? I'll be like, no, I won't be pissed. You can't be pissed at a guy that brings you titles.
No.
Although I'm pissed at Urban Meyer when he left Florida, but that's completely different. But they're like, I'm like, I can't be pissed at a guy who just came, played these years with my team, won 2, maybe 3 championships, and then decided to move on because he wanted that next challenge. And that's the thing. Is LeBron going to want that next challenge? Does he want to stay in Miami and everything like that? So it's one of those things where he's not a walking one-man dynasty.
Right.
And I know that he can get past the guys with the big men. And I think the sky's the limit with this dude, whatever he chooses to do. And I know, and the bad thing is we don't have any real big men in the league anymore. Even look at them playing San Antonio last year with Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan considered one of the best power forwards / centers to ever play the game
of all time. I agree.
And LeBron willed the Heat into making that. Mind you, he had help from Ray Allen with that desperation 3 that I was hugging everybody in the house that wanted to get hugged whenever Ray Allen made it. It was but it's one of those things to where he can get past those big men, and I know that's everybody's kryptonite. But look what he did last night. What big man is going to be able to stop that? When you're shooting like that, a big man can't stop it. And that was one of the things with Mike. Mike's game developed because of the Pistons. Mike, when he first came into the league, what did Mike do? Drove to the hole, tried to dunk on everybody, had that little jump shot. But what did Mike do when he had to play the Pistons? He developed that game to go more of the outside presence, and he started knocking down jumpers. And then Mike was unstoppable once he started knocking down the jump shots, and then he kind of developed that 3-pointer later on as he got in his career. But it's amazing how similar Mike and LeBron's paths have gone, and that they almost they're so similar that they develop around the same way. That LeBron would always want to take it to the hole when he first came into the league. Then he started to develop that jump shot, and now as he's getting later on, he's got the whole total package now. The one thing I say LeBron is better at Mike at is distributing the ball. That's the one thing I always said that LeBron is better than Michael at, and that's getting other people involved, getting other people the ball and everything like that. That's the one area. But it's so similar between the two.
I agree. Last question on this. Do you ever think Kevin Durant will win an MVP?
Win an MVP? Yes. He will eventually. He'll have to come a time where they're going to have to be like, okay, LeBron's won 7 in a row. Who else are we going to give it to now? So there'll have to be that time. I won't be surprised if he wins it this year. And it wouldn't bother me if they gave it to him this year because he has played phenomenal. But I don't want it to be that, well, first half it was Durant, and Durant beat LeBron so solidly in the first half of this season that we're going to give it to him just because now it's neck and neck. But he did so well in the first half of the season next to LeBron's second half of the season. I just don't want it to come to that. But he'll eventually win one.
Gotcha. All right, well, we can talk about this all day, but we're going to move on to something here. I'm going to play a clip for you and let it play here, but let's get this going here. Check this out.
I don't have no problem with Coach. mean, I love Larry Brown. You people may not believe it. You don't feel me when I say it, but I do. He's done so much for me in my career, just helping me be the player that I am. If there's no Larry Brown, I don't think there's no MVP Allen Iverson.
I admire him. I love him personally. I love the way he competes and tries to win, but I've had issues with him as far as coming to practice and being on time and becoming a better player. I got a young kid on my hands that's looking for direction, that has a big heart and cares about the right things, and I got to figure out a way to help him.
We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game. Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice. I know I'm supposed to be there. I know I'm supposed to lead by example. I know that. And I'm not shoving it aside, like it don't mean anything. I know it's important. I do. I honestly do. But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice?
Practice?
We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man.
He hasn't been at practice as many times as he said practice. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm the MVP, and I got to worry about trade talk. I'm the MVP. I'm the MVP of this league. The best basketball players in the world. I was honored with the MVP. The MVP, the best basketball player in the world. And when I lose, this is what I got to go through. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to be the biggest, baddest, strongest bodybuilder in the world. And that's going to make me the best player in the world. That's going to make me, if I can do that, if I build myself up and get a whole lot of muscles and come back in here and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, y'all going to give me the MVP award automatically? Please do that. If I come in here and look swole and big and strong and tough, y'all gonna give me that award, right? Just try to stick your foot in my shoes. Just for one, it ain't even gotta be a damn day. Just for 1 minute. Just for 1 minute. Stick your foot in my shoes and try to deal with what I go through in my life. My best friend, dead. Dead. And we lost. And this is what I gotta go through for the rest of the summer until the season start over again. This is what I gotta go through. This is my life in a nutshell. Y'all go home and have y'all lovely life, man. Live it up to the fullest.
It's been 5 great years here, guys. No.
Oh, Allen Iverson. We're talking about practice.
Practice. The MVP.
We're talking about practice.
Practice. And that is the thing I remember Allen Iverson most for.
Allen Iverson number was retired over the weekend, and
I wonder how many times they practiced the retirement ceremony.
Yeah, I wonder how many times they practiced his. Yeah, you're right. His ceremony before they get correct.
Practice the speech, Allen.
Allen Iverson is a wing it at a moment type of person. So if he can avoid practice, it made me wonder, maybe when he got married, that he practiced his reception or his ceremony. He wanted to hop right into the game. But he said, screw practice, let's hop back in this. But back on topic, I mean, we got so many memories that we can think of Allen Iverson here. Give me some of your top Allen Iverson moments. I got a few I can discuss. I'll be glad to go first.
When he crossed over Michael Jordan,
that was
one of my favorite moments. That complete interview right there was one of my favorite moments. He was one of those guys to where if he was on TV, he's one of those guys I'd pay to go watch because he's this little bitty guy and he plays like he's 30 foot tall. And it was one of those things where it was special to watch Allen Iverson play whenever. There were so many memories. I remember him doing that to Mike, and plus that interview. But anytime Allen played, it was always fun to watch Allen Iverson play.
One of my favorite ones, I had to be reminded when he played the Lakers in the finals, and that first game he dropped 48 points, and he was scoring on Kobe at will. Kobe definitely couldn't. This was one hard guy to guard. He was 6 foot something, was a shooting guard, was a noodle, and can find ways to score. And he was just, like you said, was a one-man scoring machine here. I looked through some of his awards, and I'm going through some of this, NBA Rookie of the Year, all rookie first team All NBA the 2 years following when he was in the league, scoring 26.8 points a game. Second team All NBA in 2000. He was selected to the NBA All-Star team between 2000 and 2002. He won the most valuable player against some good players, including Shaquille O'Neal, who was definitely in the running that year. And first All-NBA team, and he led the league in scoring with 31.1 points per game.
And he was like 5'2".
Dude, he had Aaron McKee, Eric Snow. Who is some of these guys, man? Like, his teams that he had was beyond ridiculous. And he took this team to the NBA Finals. And
it reminded me of LeBron taking that Cleveland team to the NBA Finals, where you were like, who the hell are all these people around this guy?
Right. It's just like, it's Allen Iverson and the Pips. It was ridiculous how talented this guy was to take this team and go into that building of the Lakers and win a game. Now, digress. Shaq eventually turned it on and he dominated. And Kobe, he kind of recognized and turned on his game, and they won 4 straight. But
Shaq was like, "Screw this little man.
I'm gonna take the ball from Allen Iverson.
Screw this little man.
Allen Iverson is nobody. I'm gonna show him that Shaq is not to play. But
I'm gonna show a robot."
No, but I'm telling you, this guy is impressive, and I mean, this is
for his size. He was special to watch. To be as big as he was and everything, he was special to watch.
We have a list of guys that you wish would have won a ring. Allen Iverson is definitely on that list, and
I can go through a bunch of people. I wish I could have seen one a ring.
But do you believe he's on that list? Is he?
He's on my list. He's on my list of guys I would love to see win one.
That's what I'm saying. So when I know me and you had a nice Twitter little argument here, but it was very, very, very short. When I do think of the 76ers, man, he does come to mind. I understand the Dr. J, but I'm going to tell you why Allen Iverson, when he came into the NBA, he really linked hip-hop to the NBA.
That's what I was about to say. Yep.
When you think about the NBA, before Allen Iverson, there was no guys wearing no do-rags, no white T-shirts, no baggy jeans. He had his own fashion, and he came in to a press conference with no suit. He came in baggy jeans, white T-shirts. This guy basically embraced the hip-hop era into the NBA.
He was one of the first guys that had that hairstyle with the freaking
braids. Yes, he had braids, and he was so true to himself that he put Philadelphia on his back. I heard this guy was so approachable around the streets that you can go talk to this guy. And it became so bad because he got hip-hop so much in the NBA era that David Stern had to change the dressing code. He had to invent a dress code because this guy was the pioneer of wearing do-rags, braids,
and that really baggy basketball shorts.
Exactly. And Allen Iverson had just that swagger to him. He come on the court, he just look at you. He don't care how big you were. He don't care who you were. He's bringing it to you every night.
Yep.
The dude was fearless.
I loved watching. I loved watching Allen Iverson. It was fun.
He dropped on my Magic one time. 60 points.
He dropped it on everybody. I think.
And Dwight Howard was just entering his prime, and he dropped 60 points on that. So this guy was hard to stop. And it's sad because, after he got traded to the Nuggets and played with Carmelo for a little bit, and you can just tell he was just going downhill. Then he went to the Pistons, and then he went on for the Grizzlies, and then he didn't show up, and then he went across seas to try to play some basketball, and you can just tell he was hurt because this is his life, man. Basketball is what this guy was all about. It was Al Iverson / hoops.
Yep.
Nothing else about this. He loved his family.
And talk about a guy who took an ass whooping on the court too. It just with his frame and everything, he got the shit beat out of him.
Oh man, this was one tough individual, and I respect the hell out of Al Iverson. And I know you said when you think of 76ers, Dr. J do come to mind. So
It's because I'm older than you. That's the only reason. And I knew you were going to say that too whenever I said it. But yeah, Doc always comes to mind when I think of 76ers basketball. But when you talked about the culture of changing the sport, Allen Iverson will always come to mind as one that changed that culture, that brought that. He came in a time where all the throwbacks were coming into style, where all the wearing those 76ers jerseys with Allen Iverson on it was coming into style.
Right.
He was the pioneer of bringing that kind of style into basketball and into society. He was one of the guys where it was the black guys loved him, the white guys loved him. The white people followed his trend with his style. The white people wanted to go get that Allen Iverson jersey and get the baggy jeans and everything like that. So he transitioned it in from that uppity thing where you had Mike being classy and always wearing suits and everything like that, and all these other guys coming in wearing suits, to bringing in that street style, if you want to, you can call it that way.
Yeah.
He brought in the street style, the hip hop style, and he brought in a whole new generation of fans to the NBA as well.
When you think of that, he was straight hood.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, if you want to get to the down and gritty of it, this guy was straight hood.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was what you think of when you think of a guy standing on the block with his gun and his bag of weed trying to get rid of it.
And he's playing basketball, and probably one of the best in the era, well, in that decade time frame. And
Yep.
I'm so happy that the 76ers retired his number, and he is along the greats up there in the 76ers there. And Dr. J, you're right, and we all can agree here, he is the best sister of all time. But Allen Iverson is definitely right there. He had an impact on the city. I mean, you can see jerseys everywhere, even in the whole nation. Everybody had an Iverson jersey.
Even today you can see it.
Right. Even shoes.
Today people wear them everywhere.
They wear his shoes, his jerseys.
Mm-hmm. I still remember the answers. I had a pair of those.
Right.
It was one of those things where he transcended a bunch of different things. He transcended genders. He transcended different cultures, and he was one of those guys that brought everything in together, and he made it work.
Right. So, what do you think about when David Stern had to initiate a dress code? Because
I thought it was funny as hell. David Stern was always that guy. He was like, "Oh, damn it!
I done turned this brand too good. I don't want to make it too."
I got this little thug dude coming in trying to take over everything. God damn it!"
David Stern realized he didn't want it to be too hood, so
yeah, that's one of those things it was. And David Stern done a lot of stupid shit in his time, but David Stern also did a lot of good for him.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And I did like how he changed the dressing code, and people embrace that now. You see suits and everything like that, but there was a time where people showed up in like backwards jersey and do-rags and rings and everything like that.
And now the bad thing is they come around with that dress code. Now they're wearing all them hipster, stupid-looking clothes, and that's good Lord have mercy.
I'm telling you. Well, back on top here. Well, now because they retired his number, and the sisters, the current state of the Philadelphia 76ers is pretty horrible.
Oh God,
they are on a current 14-game losing streak.
No, they fish tanking it. Boy.
Oh man, the longest losing streak that we have in NBA was the Cavaliers.
Cavs.
LeBron James decided to go to Miami Beach, and the Cavs lost 26 games. Do you think they can break that?
No, because I seen their schedule and they play the Knicks. So I think they'll be able to beat the Knicks.
Anyone can beat the Knicks. So they do play the Knicks.
Yep.
So you think they can beat the Knicks? You know what? Man, if New York can't beat them, then they might
If New York can't beat them, they need to quit now.
Yeah, they just need to quit. But
Bad thing is, New York can tank, and they could take for nothing because Orlando gets their pick. So it's,
yeah, I love it because I'm all for the Knicks to lose. So hey, the 76ers.
well, we're usually all for the Knicks to lose anyway, but now it's you got even more motivation.
Right, but I'm pulling.
Me, I just hate them.
I know you do. I know you do. But I'm looking at the 76ers schedule here, and like I said, right now they got Oklahoma City coming up. They're not beating them.
No.
They got Houston. They're not beating Houston.
No.
San Antonio.
No.
Who, you know what?
They following right behind Miami.
You know what? I'm pulling this up here, and I'm just seeing some of their schedule here. Let's see. You said they play the Knicks. I'm trying to see when they play the Knicks here. Here, let's take a look here.
Probably right before they hit 26.
See. Okay, they got Oklahoma City. Okay, you know what? I pulled this up here wrong. I looked at the wrong date. They got Utah.
They may win that one.
They can beat Utah. They got New York, Sacramento, and Indiana. They can probably beat Utah. They at New York, so I mean, like you said, if New York lose to the 76ers at home,
they need to get rid of New York.
You see those fans with pitchforks just chasing Carmelo Anthony out the arena.
I don't know if you've seen it yet, but they had it on SportsCenter where they were doing a Knicks thing, and they showed it up there, and they showed this poor little kid, and he was a little older than Austin. He was sitting there with his Knicks little basketball and his Knicks T-shirt on, and he was just nodding his head back and forth. Like, why did my mom and dad bring me to this? It's like, what? And you could see, and he looked like a basset hound, where his face was all saggy and he looked so sad. And I said, this is what Knicks fans have came to, that even 7-year-old kids are crying because the New York Knicks are so bad.
So, question to you: do you think the 76ers are tanking?
No, I don't think they're tanking. I think they're just bad. I think that's just what it is. They're just a bad basketball team.
This is, I wanted that too because I know they're, yeah. I mean, besides Michael Carter Williams and Thaddeus Young, they got Jarvis Bernardo.
Yeah.
I mean, who is that guy? I'm just looking at some names. They got Henry Sims.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Who? Tony Walton. He's a decent prospect, but still kind of too young. Yeah, it's kind of bad for them. But I think, honestly, I saw him play the Magic, and they had Michael Carter Williams out for the majority of the fourth quarter. And that's when Orlando was down, surprisingly. But, I mean, I can't really speak about that, too, because I think we're trying to tank, too. But I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, why they got Michael Carter Williams out so long? Is he hurt? And finally he came back in, and of course the Magic beat the 76ers. But what's your opinions on tanking?
It's one of those things where, dude, if you suck, just keep playing your hardest because you're gonna lose it anyway. You don't have to go out and purposely lose just for the sake of losing, just because you're hopefully going to get this one guy. But is this one guy going to change your team next year, or are you still going to suck next year as well? So it's one of those things to where I'm like, I don't see the point in doing it. I know why people do it, but I just don't see the point in doing it. I think it's a disgrace. I think it's showing your fan base you don't give a crap about them. And that's one of those things that really makes me mad, especially when I hear that I'm going to games and you're like, oh, we're tanking because we're going to get this one thing, but we still want y'all to come to games. No, screw that shit. If you're tanking, I'm not going to go to the dang game. I don't want to see crap. I don't want to pay my hard-earned money to go and see crap. And that's what these teams have to realize. They need to stop thinking about themselves, but they need to start thinking about the people that actually come and support their product. And that's one of those things to where I dislike tanking altogether. Unless we're talking about fish tanking, then I'm good with that. We can talk about saltwater fish all we want to.
Nice. I mean, as far as tanking, it's got to be. It's really bad, honestly. But from my standpoint, I'm rooting for a good draft pick, and you know, there's a lot of talent that can really change the landscape of a franchise this year.
There's a difference in tanking, and there's a difference in still going out and try hard and try to play your best and make it look Like
Yeah.
they're attempting to play well.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Magic go out and they play hard every night. They attempt to look like they're playing well. Some of these teams don't even look like they're trying. They're just walking out there going, okay, we picked up 5 guys from our neighborhood park and we're going to come out here and play this game now.
Yeah, that's why I'm more of a guy who wants to ever, but I'm on board for a high draft pick. So it's kind of thing. But yeah, tanking, if you obviously losing game by 20, yeah, that's pretty bad. So,
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a break here. So we going to intervene. We'll come right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Boss in Our Court podcast. Of course, this is Cortez Paul, and I have Kevin Carter with me. We're now going to discuss some NFL.
Hey!
How about that?
It's only March, too. We're
Yeah.
going to talk some football.
Exactly. So I was browsing, and I see that NFL.com got their top 5 prospects. They have top 50, but I just went ahead and snagged top 5 of them.
Yep.
So I'm gonna read these off here. They have Jake Matthews, offensive tackle from Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Khalid Mack, Buffalo, outside linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Red Robinson, offensive tackle from Auburn. Sammy Watkins, wide receiver from Clemson. And Jadeveon Clowney, defensive end from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I want to propose to you, which one would you start a franchise with and why?
Since I come from Jacksonville and our team was built around one position when we went into the draft, and that is your left tackle. He's the guy that protects your quarterback. He's the guy that you can build that line around, and we did it here, and his name was Tony Baselli. And I think dude from Texas A&M fits the mold perfectly. We already got one of the guys from Texas A&M, and Luke Jokel, who I would, if he stays healthy, I would start a franchise around him and build around that offensive line and build around him. But I go by that old saying: if you want to build a franchise, you build it around that left tackle. And this year, kid from Texas A&M looks to be legit, and he'd be the one that I'd want to build it around. Now, if you want to build the defense, on the other hand, you go with Jadeveon Clowney. I know this kid from Buffalo is getting all this hype and everything like that. I watched Jadeveon Clowney. I know what the boy can do, and he frightened me. He legit just frightens me. He reminds me of a Javon Curse type freak, as they like to call him, and he's one of those guys. But definitely, I always start with that left tackle position if you're building a franchise.
I hear you. If I was to take one, because I'm all about the linebacker position. Defense, you definitely need a defense to go far in the NFL. Obviously, I'm not gonna go in that. I'm not gonna touch defense. But I definitely believe that Jadeveon or Khalil Mack, the Buffalo outside linebacker. I was just watching some clips on this guy, and I like the way he tackles. And if I was to pair him with another linebacker, he can probably do some damage. But you're right, Jadeveon Clowney is, even though you look at the Khalil Mack and he's the outside linebacker, Jadeveon Clowney is a once-in-a-generation type of player.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would definitely snag him. Sammy Watkins on the offensive side of the ball, too.
Oh, my Lord. You talk about sick.
I look at him. He'll be all right prospect. But you got Jake Matthews. You can really go anyway with that.
Yep.
But everybody's got a different top 5, top 10 for this draft. Cause,
oh, yeah. It's ridiculous how many of these different ones I've seen where guys are above other guys and everything like that. It's crazy.
Right. Now, I'm looking at this here. We got 2 quarterbacks interesting here. Johnny Manziel and Teddy Bridgewater. Now, I propose the question to you, sir. Because I know
he being a shitty quarterback team.
Yeah, you having, not really a good quarterback situation for your team.
Just say it, Cortez. Suck.
Hey, I mean,
That's
you
all
got
you
one
gotta say.
element. Listen, you're a Heat fan and you're a Jaguars fan, so I mean, it's the best of both worlds, unfortunately.
I
But
take one good and I have a bad.
there you go. Which one of these quarterbacks would you take for your team,
Johnny Manziel.
and why?
Again, because I've seen what Johnny Manziel can do. Bridgewater made his name off of one game against the Florida Gator team who did not feel like being in the Sugar Bowl. I don't care what anybody says. That team did not feel like being there. They didn't even want to be there. They were disappointed. And he went out there and he feasted on them. And I've seen Johnny play. And I've seen him play from game one. His first game was against Florida. And he come in that first half, he looked unstoppable, but Florida figured it out. But I like that from his discipline. But I've seen Johnny football, as everybody calls him. I've seen him play, and the things he can do, it makes him play above that 6 foot frame that he has. It's one of those things where you can't teach those kind of things. And will it translate well to the NFL? I don't know. Will I like to see it if it would translate well to the NFL? Yes, I would love to see it. Would I love to see it in my own backyard? Yes. I would love to see it in my own backyard. So if I had to pick one, I would pick Johnny Manziel.
Does Johnny Manziel not remind you of the quarterback from Oklahoma that won the Heisman some long time ago?
Which one? I know who you're talking about. Yeah, they tried to convert him into wide receiver in the NFL. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He doesn't remind me of him because Johnny's arm strength. Johnny has, for a guy his size, he has great arm strength. His hands are huge for a dude his size, too, which allows him to throw on them pump fakes and all that stuff. And he doesn't fumble. He doesn't turn all that running he did. He only fumbled the ball twice. So he's one of those guys to where Landry Jones is who you were talking about, I think is who you were trying to think of. But, yeah, I like Johnny. Johnny's game translate will translate well into the NFL.
You know who I was thinking of? Jason White.
Oh, yeah, Jason White. I know they had a Jones there, too. That's why I was like, maybe him, too. But, yeah, Jason White, they tried to switch him over to wide receiver, much like they tried to do with Matt Jones as well with the Jaguars. So I was like, yeah.
That's the one that I hope he doesn't come to that because Johnny Manziel can definitely become a prospect. But his attitude, man, do you want to put up with that as a Jaguars fan?
I think people talked about him as an attitude. I thought about it. He's just being a kid. He was a rich kid coming up, and I don't see him having that bad attitude. We got Luke Jokel on our team who played with Johnny Manziel. He said that all these people always talk about him having this bad attitude and everything. He said he never saw it. In the locker room, he never saw it. In the locker room, all he saw was this guy that was a leader in his locker room, even at the young age that he was when he was there. So it's going to be one of those things where you want to buy the media hype that he was a jerk and he done all these things and everything. Just because the kid went to a Texas Longhorn party,
right,
wearing a Tim Tebow jersey, going to the party, being their serious rival. It's just one of those things where it's just a kid growing up, and I like him. Just what he can do is his intangibles and everything like that.
Okay. All right. Now, the only Gator that's in the top 50 is Dominique Easley.
Yeah.
Is there a Gator we should keep an eye on this draft?
Watkins, the cornerback. He played cornerback for his first few years there in Florida, and then they transferred. They moved him back to safety, which you can see why with all those corners that they had. He can play all the positions. He's going to translate into a corner in the pros. He had he kind of injured his Achilles at the Senior Bowl, which the Jaguars were the coaching staff for, and they had nothing but good things to say about him. They said he came out and he performed very well when he was out there. Another guy to look at is going to be Robertson. He the cornerback that he left early, and you got Luchez Purifoy, who he came out early as well. But the one hidden gem I'm looking at is Watkins, and don't turn your back on Ronald Powell either, because he came out early this year, and Ronald Powell is a beast if he can come back from his injury and everything, and he's definitely a beast.
Interesting. Now, questions for you to propose to you for this.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want your Jacksonville Jaguars, as far as what position do you want them to bolster in the draft?
We need to bolster every single freaking position on the team, so it's hard to narrow it down to just one. It's one of those things to where, do I want them to draft a quarterback this year? I don't know. With that number 3 pick, if Clowney's there, I want them to take Clowney. That's pure and simple. If I can't get Clowney in the first round, then do you go after one of the quarterbacks, whether it be Bridgewater, Manziel, or Bortles from Central Florida? It's one of those things to where I don't really know what I want them to do. It all comes down to who in front of me does it. But I definitely want them to bolster that offensive line and get us in a pass rusher. A lot of that they may be able to help do in free agency, and I'll have to look at free agency and see what they'll go and do in the draft. But I wouldn't mind one of the quarterbacks or Jadeveon Clowney either. I also wouldn't mind them going after like a D Ford in the second round. Hopefully he's still there. They had a lot of good things to say about him after the Senior Bowl. The coaching staff, again, got to coach him at the Senior Bowl, and they had nothing but good to say about D Ford. And I like how D Ford's become a little cocky, saying he's better than Jadeveon Clowney and that he didn't get as much push, but he looked very, very good at Auburn last year.
All right. So I'm going to propose a question to myself as well in relation to my Broncos.
Yeah, your Broncos.
Yes. We need to either try to get another running back because No Sean Marino is a free agent, so I don't know. His status is in the air right now.
I think he stays.
I think he stays too.
I think he stays just because everything worked well in Denver. Peyton Manning actually got his neck checked out, and they were worried about him choking, whether he would throw it back off or something like that. But they said, no, he's clear to go choke another year, so he's able to go back out there that year. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Oh, my gosh. But the one position I believe that we need to improve is cornerback.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Champ Bailey I love him. He's just getting old. I would have loved to see him got a ring, and because he was one of my favorite Broncos pretty much of this decade, just watching him, or last decade, is when we got him from the Redskins. But we got to get up there because when we lost Chris Harris Jr., he's by far as like one of our, as far as our backfield, defensive ends, backs, and everything like that. He's one I like to watch. But if we can somehow bolster up that position, bolster up the pass and defense, I'm all for a corner, and maybe we'll see what we got. But we got pretty good on. We're a pretty good run defense. Von Miller just got hurt. That was misfortunate, but we have to improve on the pass defense. It was pretty bad that how we was a Super Bowl contender and just our pass defense was just below average. So that's what we're looking at. Now,
definitely secondary would be looking at. Hopefully, y'all were able to keep Decker. I don't know if they're going to keep him or let him go. I don't know whether one of those things. I keep hearing they probably going to let Decker go out and test the free agent market.
Yeah, I honestly kind of see him leaving, but we'll see where that goes too. I don't know how much money that Bolin and Elway wants to throw around because you got Marino and him available in free agency. So
and the Jaguars are $60 million under the cap this year. I said, son, y'all need to go out and spend some money.
Y'all need to say, hey, y'all in good weather. You 2 hours away from Orlando.
Dude, we could pick for $60 million under the cap. Go pick whoever you want and go and be like, look, we're $60 million under the cap. You want to help with this?
Yeah, I'm with you. Speaking of another Florida team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they changed their uniforms.
They're digital clock jerseys.
What's your thoughts on those jerseys?
If anybody ever calls the Jacksonville Jaguars jerseys ugly and they're wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneer jersey, they need to be slapped directly in the face because those things are hideous.
You don't like them?
I hate them. It's like, here's the thing. You're trying to do this Seattle Seahawks style, but in different little ways on all these other different jerseys. You know what makes Seattle's jerseys kind of work? They're all one color. You still have the little takeaways on the sleeves and everything, but guess what? The jerseys are still all one damn color. You just gave a kaleidoscope of colors to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all over their jerseys. You went white, orange, red, pewter. The only good part about that whole damn thing is their helmet. That's the only good thing about that jersey that I like. Then you have those digital numbers. What are you going to do? Be giving away digital clock radio day at Tampa Bay for all 67 people that go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneer games? It's just one of those things to where, have you seen the other ones? I know they had the white one come out, but
I've
then
seen
they
the
had
white ones. I haven't seen.
They had the red one. The red one's even worse than the white.
I like the white ones. It's a different look.
They ugly to me. It's one of those things to where you have a digital clock on your chest now. And our buddy John, who was on the last podcast, he's a huge Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. He hates them.
Oh, he hates them.
Yeah, John said, okay, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, John hates them. They did one great thing with the helmet and then completely screwed it up with the jersey. Where the Jaguars went opposite way. The jerseys are okay looking, but the helmet looks like, ugh.
All right, that is.
If they would have kept the all-black Jaguar helmet and had those jerseys, everything would have been fine. But no.
Oh, man.
They had to frig it up and put friggin' gold on the helmet. I'm like, what kind of retarded shit is this?
All right. Well, that's interesting. Well, that's enough for football, but we do have some NBA tonight. Matter of fact, because we're speaking as of 6:45 p.m., we have a late show tonight, and there's games in about 15 minutes here.
Hurry up, I can go watch them.
You got it. We're going to go through these games real quick here, and I'm going to see. We got some NBA tonight, so I'm going to give you who you got. We got Golden State Warriors versus the Indiana Pacers. Last time the Pacers had won, it was on the 20th of January. The score was 120-94. Indiana victory. Who you got tonight?
Golden State.
Golden State?
Yes.
Oh, man.
I need Indiana to lose as much as possible.
There's the answer I was looking for. I got Indiana winning by 10. I can see the Pacers winning it. Golden State, Indiana's a good home team. So, all right. Now, here's one for you. Miami Heat versus the Houston Rockets. Y'all go to Houston. First game of the season, y'all play each other. Who you got, sir?
Miami.
I agree. I believe Miami wins in a nail-biter. Miami will win by 3.
Nah, they'll win by more than that.
All right. Your homerism is showing.
No. My
What?
LeBron wanting to make statements is showing.
All right. Well,
It's another one of them statement games.
What do you think the score is going to be?
I don't know. I think they'll at least win by probably 8 or 9. I don't think it's going to be that big like it was with like last night. But I think because they're coming off a back-to-back and everything like that, I still think LeBron's going to try to make another one of them statement games. And especially since this one is against Houston, is a little higher profile game, that he's going to come out and try it again.
Okay. Next game, we have the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder won on January 25th, 103-91.
And they'll win tonight, too.
Philadelphia streaks continues.
Yes.
You know what? Co-sign that. It continues, and Philadelphia 76ers will come out a loser in this one.
Did they practice?
Hey, that's a good point. Did they practice?
They tanked practice.
They take practice. How do you lose in practice? But they will lose in double digits. Kevin Durant will go off. I say for 30 points.
Yeah,
So-
it'll be like 36, something like that.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook will have a little coming out game since he's been back and probably play well tonight.
Yeah, he'll hit his chest and start roaring everywhere like he always do. Intensified player. All right. Next game, the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Phoenix Suns. The last victory was Phoenix, and they was at the Clippers
And they
on
beat
December
the crap
30th.
out of them.
Yeah, 107-88. Who you got?
I got Phoenix.
Yeah, because Phoenix is at home, and that team is just playing incredible ball. And
Because they went back to their older-looking jerseys. That's the reason why.
I'm not sure, but I believe Bledsoe is on track to come back. I don't know if he's back yet, but regardless of that, Dragic is going to carry them. Probably one of the most improved players, candidates.
Yep.
They win. I say they win in a nail biter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, so that game I definitely have up and keep an eye on. And our last game, the Los Angeles Lakers versus the New Orleans Pelicans. This series is tied. Lakers lost to them at New Orleans 85-96 back in November the 8th. And the Lakers won back on November 12th, 95-116. Who you got here?
The Brow. Well, I'm going with the Pelicans.
The Pelicans. The Lakers are all for a free fall. They said Steve Nash and Kobe Bryant is not coming back for the rest of the season. They're shutting them down.
They're tanking too.
They are tanking, and hopefully I'm rooting for New Orleans to lose because Lakers are like a few games behind the Magic. So, but regardless, I hate the Lakers, man. So I hope they lose. So scratch that. The Lakers need to lose because I don't like them.
Screw the Lakers. You sounded like my Brooklyn pick last.
You know what? I just switched, man. I'm not gonna root for the Lakers. What is wrong with me?
It's practice.
Dude, screw that. The Lakers need to lose. Oh man,
Lakers.
I forgot, man. I never root for the Lakers. All right, well, that is done. We got some rapid fire here. Kevin, we gonna get these people to know a little bit more about our teams and and everything like that. So, rapid fire, top 3 players that you like of your own Miami Heat.
Oh, we talking all time or?
Yeah.
Okay, my favorites. Well, my favorite. My favorite all-time Heat was Heat players Dwayne Wade. Really close to it. Really close to Dwayne Wade is Alonzo Mourning, and then Glenn Rice. Those would be my top 3 who I love.
Nice. All right.
I can't go with LeBron just yet because he ain't been there long enough, but he'll eventually go up that list as well.
All right. Well, from my ends, from a Magic fan, my first one is going to be Penny Hardaway.
Yep.
Just such a great player to watch.
It's Tyra Banks, fool.
Look, Penny, and I had a pair of his shoes.
I had all of them.
Had his jersey. So, yeah. Penny Hardaway is my first one. Second one is Trace McGrady. He, of course, went to Auburn High School. I went to Auburn High School, so I'm a little familiar with Polk County, the Polk County product there. And he definitely made Magic basketball back in the early 2000s watchable until we lost 60 games. But still, besides that, he was still a hell of a player to watch. And my third player is Jameer Nelson. The guy just shows hard on the court, and he brings it. And I'm very glad he did not get traded in the trade deadline. I hope he retires a Magic player. I hope he accepts the role to come off the bench next year when we go in this draft. And just lead these guys and teach them how to be a great professional because Jameer is great at being a great professional. There was only one time he ran his mouth was when he predicted that he was going to beat the Atlanta series there. But that was him being confident. But for the most part, Jameer just shuts up and play the game. And so that's really my top 3 favorite Magic players. I will give respect to Dwight, and I respect what he's done for the Magic franchise. But yeah, it is what it is with Dwight. All right, well. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for the day. Kevin, you want to give them your Twitter @name?
It's at KevinC2415.
Mine's at the mind of CD. Or I can't.
You already forgot your own Twitter name.
Man, I can't even speak today. At In the Mind of CP, and we also have a Twitter for the Balls on Our Court podcast, which is
It better be the balls on our court.
Exactly. It is at Balls in Our Court podcast. I want to give a shout out to the Hardwood Nation. Please visit the website at www.thehardwoodnationblog.com. I am also a blog contributor. And, me and Kevin, this is our 3rd week, and we have got great feedback from everybody. We looking to do more shows. And once I get down there to relocate to Florida,
it'll be 2 in a week.
It's going to be really on. And please support us. Go to Podomatic.com. Download it, feedback, ask questions, and we love hearing y'all feedback. Well, Kevin, man, it was fun. Once again, it is a late night show, but it was fun, my brother.
Always fun, always fun. Now it's time to go get something to eat and watch some basketball. And the Florida Gators play tonight, too. Your number 1 team in the country, so I'm about to go ahead and watch some of that game as well.
Look at you, got a heavy sports night, man.
Always, man. The good thing about being in Florida is that they're always on every channel. Like, I get every Magic game, I get every Heat game, I get every Gator game, so there's always something on TV when it comes time for me to watch some sports. So I'm like, all right.
You have a luxury because I have to buy a lead pass, of course, and already done load up sometimes.
But
But you know what? I'm going to enjoy some TV tonight. I got some basketball to watch and some cartoons, and I'm going to relax.
Look, I'm recording Arrow. So I'm recording Arrow tomorrow night. I got to record Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tonight. So while I'm watching basketball, Marvel can record, and then the basketball game gets over, and I'll watch I'll watch Shield after that. So
Man, some good TV.
and plus with the son running in and out of it, I always got to play with him some too. So always got to do the dad thing.
Exactly, man. Well, hey, it was fun once again, my brother. We're going to do this again next week. And ladies and gentlemen, we do want to thank you for listening to the Balls Not Court podcast and wish you all a good evening.